Does anyone ever call you champ?
Oh yeah.
And does that bother you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a blessing.
Sure.
They don't. The problem is they don't remember my name.
Right.
You have a very difficult last name to say, as do I.
We both have German last names.
Right, but I'm not German. My grandfather was adopted by these Germans.
I think you're wrong. I think Wikipedia begs to differ. It says Irish and German descent.
Right, because my mother's Irish, so whoever wrote that fairy tale.
I'm going to trust them over you.
Okay, you should. My grandfather was adopted.
Okay.
We think he was a Williams. I mean, look at the pallor of my skin.
Which I think is Welsh.
Yeah, Welsh or British, yeah, something. Yeah. So I'm all...
You're European.
UK,
You're Western European.
Yeah, Empire.
Yeah, the Empire, excuse me. And so, but when they don't remember your name.
Koechner. They look at it, and Koechner should be either Koechner or even just Koechner. Be fine. Because the OE never makes the short E sound in the English language.
Right, of course not.
But my relatives said Koechner in a small town in Missouri where I'm from, which out the gate is wrong.
Right.
Second, once we get to the vowel, you're already wrong at the vowel. Now what? So that's where people quit. Like, I heard it, then I was corrected, and I know the correction was grammatically incorrect.
Right.
So why am I going to buy into this lie?
But
this whole guy must be a lie. He's a fucking liar. All I know is he doesn't know how to say his last name. He's trying to get me to mispronounce his last name. I mistrust him.
That's the vibe you give off as an untrustworthy tall man.
I just thought of all that. I like that.
No. You know what? You're going to have this as the podcast. You write that down.
Use that.
You know what's weird? As you were saying it, I swear to God, I was like, I hope it's so funny. It sounds like a bit, but I know you wouldn't run a bit on me.
Right.
And that's also another thing.
Oh, you mean like a previously...
Like, that's not a bit. Like, that's funny, but that sounds like a bit you would do on stage. But I know that was organic. I could tell.
I just realized that's probably pretty good.
Do you want to write it down?
No, I'll remember it.
One of my pet peeves is people who, and this is more of, I mean, it's an American pastime / tradition to rag on your family for holidays. Like, oh, I got to go home. And a lot of movies are about like, ugh, I've got to go home for the holidays. Ugh, mom's dead. Now I've got to deal with dad. Oh, I'm single. I have to bring my gay friend, pretend he's my husband.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Now you got to deal with dad. Turns out it's the first time you went home and realized how much they really loved each other.
Roll credits. Roll credits.
And then it helps repair your relationship that you're currently having with your husband and make it better by the time you went home.
Perhaps
the final, sorry, I'm making this an indie.
No.
The final thing was, is you guys get in the car and you sit there and like, and you drive down this long country road or whatever back to the highway.
Because he's keeping the farm, and, even though mom died.
Yeah. And there's something like, he says, was it okay? I know you were thinking it wouldn't be. Was it okay? But you and your dad had a private conversation right before you got in the car. Yeah. And then you just look over and go, I love you.
You were talking about last names, and I had written this down, so we're going to hit this point.
I love it.
So your last name is Koechner, and mine is Schlesinger, and these are both phonetically difficult last names. I don't know about you, but I went my whole life, no one ever made fun of Schlesinger. Maybe because I went to a small private school with a lot of other Jewish kids. It wasn't a Jewish school. I'm not a dork. But no one ever made fun of Schlesinger. And it isn't until I've become an adult that people feel it's okay to make fun of it.
How do they do it?
Oh my God. Like, some girl came up to me the other day. She was like, and she was Jewish too, so it hurt a little less, but because as a Jew, you're always waiting for an anti-Semitic comment. Always. And she was like, you're Iliza something Jewish. And I was like, that is so fucking, and she was a fan, and she was Jewish too, so it wasn't as bad. It's so fucking rude. Like, that's my last name. That's my father's last name. And for me to be 31 and to make it this far without suffering the slings and arrows of people's retardation in terms of your last name, for me to just start now, I don't have the armor to protect myself because I didn't have to deal with it in high school. Because that's where you build up like the tolerance for that. Does anyone you're...
Well, they'll go Koechner, Koechner. I don't care. I'll respond to it because I don't have time generally to to entertain.
Have them sound it out.
Well, sound it out, and then my overly long explanation, and then all of that. They just go, how do you say it? Even at radio stations, am I saying it right?
But that's how do you say it? Okay, here's another pet peeve. Yes. Come up to me. They say, how do you say our last name? I say it Schlesinger. They try 4 or 5 times. They say it wrong because they don't have total control over their palate and their tongue.
It's true. It's difficult.
And I say, I'm okay with you messing it up. Just commit to it. If you want to say Schlesinger, that's fine. Just don't like run back over it with the truck 800 times. And I don't mind if you don't know how to say it, but I do mind if you make fun of it. If you're like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, that's
Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Schlesinger.